Witches, and thank you for joining me. It's Black Witches, and today I'm going to answer a question that I typically avoid to answer. And that question is, does Satan exist? Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of defensive or insultive type of tirades about religion or the left-hand path versus the right-hand path. All I'm going to say is that my personal journey with researching and experiencing Lucifer has been a very positive experience. So demons and Lucifer are very old, ancient energies, and they have been around far, far, far longer than the modern religions. The modern religions have only been around 2,000 years, or just over when you're looking at the Torah. So, and when these religions came into play, they wiped out the knowledge of the older and pre-existing by thousands and thousands and thousands of years, all the gods and all the demons and whatever they wanted to name them when they actually came into play. It's like the big brother came on the block and started slandering all the old monuments and libraries and historical knowledge, just so people would follow the new religions. And don't forget, it wasn't like this day and age where we can put a protest march down the street and try and get politicians to change their mind. Back then, you had to follow the new order that was coming in, or your basic human needs, safety, were wiped out, they're abolished. And for you and your family, it meant death, starvation, basically to wipe you out. You didn't have a choice, you had to believe. And if you didn't believe in the religion that was coming in, you had to go underground, and so far underground that your life was basically in peril. So we have to remember that when we're thinking about, well, why do people follow Christianity these days? They didn't have a choice. Now, you might also ask, well, why didn't Satan or Lucifer stand up for himself? He doesn't have to. Remember, in the scheme of things, the modern religions have only been in just over 2,000 years. Whereas, the pre-existing religions have been around since the beginning of time. So when you're looking at these old energies, they're just sitting back and just thinking, this is quite novel. Let's see what's going on here. So now let me get back into the way that we practice, or I practice, and I practice with my students, and I teach working with demons. When you connect with these energies, and they will come to you if you ask them to, if you want to work with them, they'll come to you, but not in the way that you'd expect. They're not going to come to you the way of, possession and, the demonic, scary monsters and all of that sort of crap. They're going to come to you depending on how you fear demons or what your senses are. But for me, I haven't had a negative experience. Now, I'm not saying that you won't have one, and I'm not saying that my other students haven't had scary, very scary experiences. And I'm not saying I'm special at all. I'm just saying that I haven't. But I've had a ton of knowledge and wisdom before I entered this realm, which I will say is a little scary when I realize I'm teaching people knowledge without them having the background or respect, or they haven't earned the right to actually practice this level of magic. But whatever, I do give a warning label out, and it's up to each individual to do whatever they want. I'm not the babysitter of mankind. But when we actually work with these demons or these ancient spirits, we actually know they exist because we feel their presence. So depending on which one of your senses is most open, you'll typically experience the energy from that sense. So if your ability is to hear, then you might hear what's going on in the background. You might hear the noises. You might hear different whatever you're going to hear from that spirit entering into your space. If you see things, then you're going to be able to visualize or actually see that spirit presenting in front of you. In some of my videos, different people have actually said they've seen the demon in my space where I haven't been able to see it, but I sense it. Okay, and in my course, I'll show you my own method for how that entity can actually affect the thing that I'm getting you to hold during my method, and you can actually see it'll move that item. And so you get the idea, right? So it's not just an archetype. Lucifer, Satan, isn't just an archetype. It's an old, powerful entity that has never had a human body. The original gods have never had a human body. Some of them have come down and manifested as a human in some way, as a god or a human in some way, but these aren't. It's not like Jesus. Okay, Jesus was born from a woman, if you want to believe that. But these ancient gods and beings, they've got the ancient wisdom. So we can't even actually describe what it would be like to be them, because we don't know. I don't know. Now, am I trying to downplay the power of demons? No, I'm not. Demonic forces are really strong, and they have the ability to do some really powerful things, what many would call evil. But it's not remember, each of these, like Astaroth, for example, Astaroth has many legions under Astaroth, many henchmen, if you like, or many, there's a line of management, if we're going to use a politer term. And each line of management has many employees under that line of management. And some of those employees are dead shits. They're going to run around and be parasites and cause harm or be little troublemakers. Unfortunately, like we like to categorize and summarize everything up into just the one thing, and we're saying demons are evil. They do evil things. And I say, no, you know what? Some people deserve a ton of evil on their ass. Some people need to learn a lesson. But then again, remember, I'm a witch, and I'm not talking about how everyone should feel. I'm not acting on the entire body of the left-hand path. But I do believe there's some really evil people that deserve some really nasty shit to happen to them. But at the same time, if you're going to look at the Bible and so forth, to me, the greatest atrocities happened in the Bible. Just look at the Old Testament. And I don't for 2 seconds believe that the Bible is true or what they're saying about their God. That God wiped out a whole race of people just because he was pissed off with what one person did. So he said, the 7 generations after this, they're all going to die or have some terrible thing happen to them. And then the whole plague of this generation will be wiped out because of X, Y, and Z. And then this person has to murder his son. And then you can have a couple of virgins and all of this sort of crap. To me, that is the words of a sociopath. Somebody is so evil that they're looking after their own. They're thinking like a man to begin with, which a God is not. And then they're telling them to go and do crazy ass shit. And this stuff was written just to control people, and so to create this division between heaven and hell, and hell must be full of demons, and demons just want to do crazy ass evil shit. The highest level of demons, the ones that are going to contact you, people like you and me on this plane to help us out, they're not evil. Now they can get one of their legions to do crazy ass evil things, sure, but evil is a blanket term. So don't be scared of demons because of the word they're evil. Man is the most evil creature on this earth. The mind of a man, that is evil, not demons. Interesting enough, I've read some interesting things about, what's that group that South Park makes fun of all the time? Oh, the Mormons. And when you're looking at the higher levels of what the Mormon belief system is, it's starting to talk about extraterrestrials. And it's really interesting what they're saying, because what they're talking about is really where Satan or Lucifer has come from, and all the demons. They're gods of the universe, right? So when the Book of Mormon, I looked at that and I was like, wow, they're pretty close to the mark. These have come from distant planets, they're universal energy. So when we're talking about source energy or gods of the universes, as the Quran says, right, it's God of the universes, what we're all talking about is this same energy. We're just misinterpreting it when it comes down to this earthly plane. But the power of these gods, and why when we're doing magic, we're actually contacting with the elements of the planets, and we're bringing them down through different sigils and so forth onto this plane, and then we're connecting with the sigils to the demons and various earthly elements. Okay, so this is witchcraft, so I'm drawing on a lot of different things here. It really starts to all to connect. And if you're listening to this for the first time, you might think, oh my gosh, this is just so abstract. But if you understand or have been practicing witchcraft or sorcery, this is like, oh wow, like it totally makes sense now why we actually use the planets, why a lot of our plants on Earth have different planetary elements to them. Okay, so this is what we're connecting with. This is joining the dots, okay, between the gods, the planets, our plant life, our rocks, the conducting of spells, our bioelectricity, how we're actually connecting to all of this. It's really, really important to understand that we're not connecting to Jesus when we're doing this, because Jesus is an archetype, if you like. But these ancient demons is the truth, and why witchcraft works, and why we get our power, and why we can actually connect to demons and spirits and so forth. And yeah, I've probably blabbered on, and I've said more than enough for you to go out and not believe what I say, but start to research some of this stuff yourself and make your own very informed decisions, because we are in an age of enlightenment. And maybe what the Christians are saying, it's going to be the end of Christianity, and even the Bible and talks about, coming to the end. I really believe it's coming to the end of all the bullshit that we've had to believe for the past 2,000 years, because this day and age we do have access to the truth. We can decide what is real and what is not. And we do have a legal system now that protects us who are on the path to enlightenment. We have a choice of what we can say and what we can follow for now. So I feel like I've done my job in just throwing it out there to you, so you can actually look at this further and really just decide for yourself. So I know I've expanded a lot on the question, does Satan really exist? But I've explained that, and I'm not going to explain it, talk about this anymore. It's up to you now to go and research this. Okay, and so what I'll say, if you have researched it and you write an article or blog and it's interesting enough that we're all going to learn a little bit more about this, remember we're all on this path of enlightenment, feel free to submit it to Black Witch Coven, and we might even publish it. I think it's really important that you at home who are discovering this and would like to research it, throw something out there so we can all read it. Blessed be to everyone, and have a very powerful week.